And this is Morning Express. Glad that you're here with us this morning. And a little bit of a difference here. Person of interest today is not available for reasons beyond our control. But all the same, start off first of all with our question of the day. And of course, this, first of all, to just build a background on it, is we've had hate speech in this country for a while, but we've not had any action taken. Do you think the Inspector General will finally bring to book alleged hate speech mongers? And that's the question that we'd like to interact with you this morning. We'd also like to open up the phone lines and maybe hear what you have to say. Sometimes texts are restrictive and you may want to say a little bit more in terms of contributing to that particular subject, but I'll sample some of your answers that have come through. But the phone lines are now open, and in case you'd like to interact and let us know what your feeling is in regards to hate speech and what really needs to be done in terms of dealing with hate speech once and for all. As a country, remember 2007, 2008, we went through an experience that we would not like to go through again, because obviously as Kenya was burning, we certainly lost many lives, businesses, and many things happened that would not like repeated. But now, according to the polls that have come through so far, we have 67% of you saying no. They don't think that the IG will bring to book alleged hate speech mongers, but we have 33% saying yes, that finally they think he's going to do that. But more so, what I'd like to hear from you is solutions. I have Eve Minette here who says what the IG should do, and this is good because it's part of a solution. What the IG should do is surprise us by actually denying bond. Only then shall we know that the seriousness or that his office holds. And of course the question then there would be the legal side of it, because remember the NCIC chair Ole Kaparo has come out to say that one of the things that is slowing us down in terms of not having a solution to hate speech is the court system. And of course, case in point, we have the likes of Moses Kuria, who has been arrested before and has been accused and alleged to have engaged in very, very volatile and speeches that would cause issues. But he has been released on bond. And one of the recommendations that had been given by the NCIC is that while he's out on bond, should he make any other statement that that would cause retaliation or that would be termed as hate speech, then he should be arrested. This, of course, has not happened, and this is part of the part that forms our debate this morning. So we also have Mohammed, who says that, of course, the IG will do nothing. This is all rhetoric, and we as a country are getting sick and tired of that. What is your take on that? What is your feeling in regards to what the IG has had to say in having the 6 members of parliament summoned and called for them to be questioned regarding hate speech? And of course, this is a problem for us that we hope is going to be sorted out once and for all. So yes, interacting and engaging with you this morning. Do let us know what your take is on that. Now, controversial Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria is one of those who have been accused of doing that. So the South MP Moses Kuria has presented himself to the police in connection with alleged hate speech he made Sunday in Nairobi. 5 other members of parliament, both Jubilee and CORD, have been summoned to appear before the police over the inflammatory remarks they are alleged to have made. Those wanted by police are Kilifi Women Rep Aisha Jumwa, Suna East MP Junet Mohammed, Bahati Member of Parliament Ferdinand Waitito, and Timothy Otieno had a report that he had prepared earlier on.
Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria at it again. This time, he was alleged to have made remarks bordering on hate speech targeted towards CORD leader Raila Odinga during an event at the Kasarani Indoor Stadium on Sunday.
What we want to see is speedy investigations, all the evidence brought together, and the men and women who make these statements to really face the full force of the law so that they know that actions, what they say, is punishable. They shouldn't actually think that they can say this and buy their way out of responsibility just because of their standing in society.
Kuria, who has since honored the police summons, has however dismissed the NCIC summons.
Nikagojea Raila aitwe na Kaparo aulizwe mambo ya kusema Mjaluo sababu ni polisi asifanye hiyo kazi. Kaparo hakumuita.
But the Gatundu South Member of Parliament is not the only one seemingly in trouble. His Bahati constituency counterpart Kimani Ngunjiri has also received a summon from the police over remarks he made this weekend when angry youth disrupted a gathering convened by CORD leader Raila Odinga. Remarks that the MP has since disowned.
Nimesikia nimekuwa summoned. Sijui na Kaparo. Kaparo ajua mimi ni mjumbe nimechaguliwa na watu. Mimi si mtu ya kuitwa kwa media. Lazima aandikie mimi barua aniambie. Official aniambie tunakuita uandike statement kwa sababu ya matamshi haya na haya na haya.
Ngunjiri was captured on video allegedly inciting eviction of CORD supporters in Nakuru. Ferdinand Waititu, on the other hand, has been called upon to answer to claims over insightful remarks he made while in Kasarani this weekend. Remarks that seemingly have now become a forte for political onslaught between the Jubilee and CORD coalitions. And today, CORD reacted angrily to remarks attributed to the three MPs.
Mr. President, we want you to ensure Moses Kuria, Kinuthia Mbugua, Minor Commander, and Ferdinand Waititu are arrested and charged. We should not apply the Constitution and the laws of the land selectively.
Members of Parliament were seen throwing stones in Nakuru. Members of Parliament were seen very clearly in Kasarani inciting people. Now, what are they investigating? Instead of arresting those members and taking them to court.
But some of the remarks they made today have thrown some of the leaders into trouble with the law. Legislators Timothy Bosire, Aisha Jumwa and Junet Mohammed have also been summoned by the police to be grilled over their statements today. The legislators set to appear before the police and the National Cohesion and Integration Commission will have to explain their remarks not only to the commissioners and the police force, but also to the over 42 million Kenyans who are still shaking off a bitter past of violence emanating from reckless leaders. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
And that right there forms the basis of our question of the day today. Do you think the IG this time is going to crack the whip on hate mongers, alleged hate mongers? And remember, the phone lines are now open. I would like to interact with you on that and let us know what you think. Do you think the IG will finally crack the whip on alleged hate mongers? And possibly, if you have solutions that you'd like to offer that we need as a country, especially as we approach the 2017 general election, then would like to hear from you. Do let us know via Twitter, but you can also call us, and the phone lines are going to be displayed on your screen shortly, and you can give us a call and let us know what your thoughts are. But before we continue with that, we'd just like to catch up with Dominic Wario, who is on Thika Road, just to give us a traffic update and find out how things are on the road. Dominic, good morning, and thank you for being our traffic marshal this morning. Do let us know what part of Thika Road you're on and how things are. Dominic. All right, Dominic Wario, who's on Thika Road, would like to give us a traffic update. He's volunteered to be our traffic marshal this morning. And of course, we'd like to get an update which is live. So Dominic, what part of Thika Road are you, sir?
Moving towards, I'm at Roasters, moving towards Allsops.
Okay.
There is a bit of traffic, but it's moving.
Okay, you're heading towards Allsops. Would you say it's heavy compared to other days?
No. Compared to yesterday, it's preferably better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any incidents on the road that possibly you'd like to let us know of?
Yeah. Between Gedurai 45 and the flyover at TLM. Mm-hmm. There was an accident, but I think the police have already moved in.
Okay.
So whoever is coming from Roido, you can use the service lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That is a good update for anybody who hasn't left home, and in case you're going to be using that. Dominic letting us know that there was an accident, although it has been cleared. Was there any fatalities in the accident, do you think? Or was it a fender bender, a minor accident?
But in Thika Road, just a car strolling on the road, the traffic builds up very fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dominic. But before I let you go, Dominic, just to maybe your pickup, I'll throw you, into the corner right here. In regards to hate speech in this country, what do you think we need to do as a country to ensure that we control what our politicians say?
As a country, I think we should not. We should have a collective responsibility as Kenyans, not actually to say things that may bring what we experienced in the year 2007. And the politicians, I think we as Kenyans, we are the ones who are being incited by these people. So for me, I think it is an individual responsibility to make this country a peaceful one.
Absolutely.
It's not about politicians. It's about me, it's about you.
Okay.
Whoever the politician can say whatever he wants to say. But how do I react to it? Do I join the politician? Do I echo the politician? If the politician today says, do this, do that, and I don't do it,
okay,
tomorrow, the same politician not say anything.
So the responsibility and the honors are on us as Kenyans as well.
Yeah, it's not about politicians.
All right.
Nobody should point his or her finger to a politician. Point that finger to yourself.
Okay.
I need a peaceful Kenya, and that peaceful Kenya will be found. But not about politicians and all the other. Let them talk whatever they want to talk. But we as Kenyans, we must stand up and say no to their utterances.
All right, thank you very much, Dominic, our traffic marshal there, and Kenyan who says that peace begins with you, and let us make sure that we ensure that. So we have somebody from Lamu. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Morning to you, Michael.
Yes, go right ahead.
Mimi naitwa Raya Famau kutoka Lamu County. Na ninapenda kutoa mchango wangu kuhusu watu kuongea maneno ya chuki. Mimi kwa mtazamo wangu sioni Inspector General akichukua hatua yoyote.
Kwa nini hauoni kama atafanya chochote?
Kwa sababu unajua Michael, inategemea ni nani anaongea katika Kenya. Kama ni wanasiasa, kama ni wafanyabiashara ambao wana pesa, wanaweza kumiliki mahakama. Unaweza kusema kitu chochote na hautafanyiwa chochote ndani ya Kenya. Kama ni mimi mlala hoi na kupigia kutoka Lamu County, hivi sasa nikiongea hapo, watakuja kabla ya 2:30 wanishike, wajue nimeongea nini na nipelekwe mahakamani na nihukumiwe. Lakini napenda kusema kuwa wanasiasa waache kuikoroga Kenya, kwa sababu tunaenda katika wakati wa uchaguzi na ni kipindi ambacho ni kigumu sana na hatari. Wasiwe wakisema maneno ya semi ya chuki, kwa sababu tunaweza nchi ambazo zimeanguka. Sisi Lamu ni karibu na Somalia. Nchi ambazo zimeanguka, mambo yameanza hivi ndugu yangu Gitonga. Wanasiasa kuchochea, wafuasi kuchukua chuki za ukabila, na ukumbuke sisi tunaishi na makabila tofauti kila pahali. Kwa hivyo hii Kenya vile tunavyoona kwenye TV, mimi ni mshabiki sugu wa kipindi chako kila siku, ni kama wanasiasa wanatupeleka kuwa hii Kenya ni ya makabila mawili. La, hii Kenya si ya makabila mawili, ni ya makabila zaidi ya 42. Kwa hivyo wawe na hadhari. Tunaweza kataa hata sisi kupigia makabila mengine ikiwa nyinyi mtatuonesha kuwa nyinyi you are so special. Sisi si kabila zenu, sisi si dini zenu, lakini tunaamini yule atachaguliwa atashughulikia interest za watu wote.
Aya, asante sana.
Tafadhali wanasiasa msifikishe huko.
Asante sana Rehab kutoka Malindi pale, tumesikia. Thank you very much. And still taking your calls on what you think we need to do as a country, especially given that we're going towards 2017 and the hate speech definitely does not do us any good. Good morning.
Hello.
Mr. Kinyanjui, how are you?
I'm very fine. Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, good morning. Where are you calling us from, Kinyanjui?
I'm calling you from Nairobi, Kawangware.
All right, go right ahead.
I'm a security and social control expert.
Okay.
To answer your question, I think definitely the IG will do something.
Mm-hmm.
However, sincerely, the only thing that holds him at ransom is the law.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they don't act out of discretion, but rather they act within the laws. The law is not as strong enough as to be able to take care of these unique cases of hate speech, unfortunately.
Okay, so do you think that there needs to be a change in the law? Because at the end of the day, something has to be done.
What I think, Michael, is that we need to have a law that even has a well thought out, a holistic definition of what hate speech entails. Further to that, the people who will save this country from the drums of violence are the politicians by enacting what, in my opinion, I would call a more aggressive social control techniques. For example, anyone who is formally indicted by the NCIC for hate speech should have their assets frozen, should have their salary frozen. The only reason why they keep on trending is because they have money, they have social standing. But if you deny them that, then nobody's going to have a social standing, and he will quickly be forgotten. Now, once 2 or 3 people have their assets frozen for the period that the trial is continuing, or until they are exonerated, then I want to tell you, we will set a very good example. In other countries where people are rich and really money dictates the judicial system and things like that, for example, in Saudi Arabia, what the government did, they would freeze the accounts and the assets and the properties and the salaries of those who are formally indicted, especially when it came to drugs. I think that is that needs to happen in Kenya.
All right.
We need a legal framework through the enactment of parliament that would allow us to freeze the assets in a legal perspective.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Peter Kinyanjui, who definitely weighs in and says that there needs to be something done. However, he feels that the IG will actually act. The only thing is that he's restricted by law, and that is, of course, there's very little he can do. The most he can do is arrest and then have them arraigned before court. But what the courts decide after that is another thing altogether. Remember, also Rahab came out to say that there seems to be some who have more justice than others. Reminds me of a book, Animal Farm, that is quoted by many, and it talks about some animals being more equal than others. And according to Rahab, she says that there are some people who can actually make some statements and get away with them. However, she quotes and says if she herself made some statements before 8:30, she would already have been arrested and put behind bars. So the question this morning, of course, we're interacting with you, is as to whether you feel or think that the IG is actually going to do something regarding hate speech, which is something that we have experienced for a long time. The question this morning is, do you think the IG will finally bring to book alleged hate speech mongers, given that he has summoned 6 members of parliament? The phone lines are now open and would like to hear from you, and more so, solutions. You as the Kenyan. Now, the Constitution does give you as a Kenyan the power, but do we really have that power? So meanwhile, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission is alarmed over rampant hate speech propagated by politicians. The chairman of the commission, Francis Ole Kaparo, says they are currently investigating 9 politicians who are on their radar over hate speech that borders on incitement.
We have summoned the MP for Bahati in Nakuru to appear before this commission in the course of this week. I believe it will be Thursday or Friday. And so have we also again summoned Mr. Kuria to appear again before this commission. And in the case of Mr. Kuria, we will make an attempt yet again to ask the court to cancel the bond. We have done that in the past. Unfortunately, on all occasions we have made an an application to the court to cancel the bail of this particular accused, the courts have always refused to listen to us. One wonders whether the courts will wake up to reality when the whole country is burning.
And that brings us to the interaction that we have with you this morning regarding our question of the day. And that is the question, do you think that the Inspector General can and will do something about hate speech? They have summoned 6 members of parliament currently. According to the NCIC chair, Ole Kaparo, says they have 9 members of parliament who are currently under investigation. So do you think the IG will finally bring to book alleged hate speech mongers? We'd like to interact with you and hear what you have to say. And joining me now from Nakuru is Mr. James Maina. Good morning, James Maina. What are your thoughts on this?
Good morning, Michael.
Morning.
First of all, thank you for the very nice show and interactive one.
Thank you.
And now, about this issue, I don't think the IG is going to do anything, simply because that is the trend that you've seen. Mm-hmm. We've had politicians being brought in, we've had investigations being done after actually being in meetings where there's this hate speech going on. Mm-hmm. So I think the deeper problem lies with us as Kenyans. Because when some of these comments are made, it is in the public rallies and public events, mm-hmm. and we have people cheering for after these remarks. Mm-hmm. And again, it goes both ways. It's not just a Jubilee issue. Mm-hmm. We have seen it in all across the political divide. So I think the solution lies with us. When somebody cheers, when another person incites them to violence mm-hmm. against fellow Kenyans, that shows that that person is ready to actually do that thing that the politician is asking them to do. Mm-hmm. And that is the problem that we should be addressing. That's the problem that NCIC should be addressing. Mm-hmm. Yeah? But also, on the other hand, then, we should have the police, the other arms of the government, the NCIC, the IG, we should have them taking these people to book. We should have some politicians there so that even Kenyans can actually realize that these people that are inciting them are not above the law. Because currently that is the view we are seeing.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, James, what responsibility do you think the citizen has? Because we have a tendency to blame the politicians and the police and even the IG and all that. But what responsibility do you and I have?
I think we have, our responsibility is twofold. Now, we have the first issue where we can choose not to vote for these people come mm-hmm. 2017. Mm-hmm. And secondly, we saw, I think it was the day before yesterday or the day before yesterday, we saw a woman stand up to one of the politicians, I think it was in Kakamega, for saying something negative about their governor. Mm-hmm. We could decide to do the same. When a politician starts some of these hate speech that you're seeing, we could have the public actually just booing him off stage or just walking out of his meetings. I think that would go a long way to actually showing these politicians that we really don't need this kind of talk.
Thank you very much, James Maina, calling from Nakuru. We also have Kocha in Bomet. Good morning, Kocha.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for calling. What's your take on, will the IG do much with in regards to hate speech?
Thank you very much, Michael. You know, that is a very good program you brought to us this morning.
Thank you.
Kweli kabisa, wacha nikwambie, hii Kenya ni kubwa kuliko wale wanasiasa yote. Haijalishi wanatoka chama yangu ama ile chama nyingine. This country is bigger than them.
Okay.
IG kuna mambo mengine haitaki investigation. Hiyo mambo kama hiyo ya Kuria, it is very clear. It is very clear. Kuria washikwe, wale wengine washikwe. Iko in records, kuna video. Ili hii Kenya ipate kuwa na amani. Matamshi kama hayo lazima serikali ama IG ishughulikie ipasavyo.
Kwa hivyo unaona,
hiyo ni maoni yangu, Michael.
Unaona suluhisho ni kwamba washikwe na hiyo itakuwa suluhisho kwetu.
Washikwe ili Wakenya wengine waanze kufahamu kwamba hate speech ni mbaya, italeta matatizo Kenya hii. So washikwe kabisa, wahukumiwe, hata ile speech ambaye ile Kabara walitoa, hiyo bond, watolewe bond, watu wawekwe ndani ili wajue Kenya ni Kenya ambayo tunataka amani. Hayo tu bwana Michael. Mimi naitwa kocha kutoka Silibwet.
Asante sana kocha kutoka Bomet pale, tumemkusikia. Let's now move on to Franklin in Nairobi. Good morning, Franklin, and what's your take on this particular subject, Franklin?
Good morning.
Morning to you, sir.
This is Franklin from Nairobi.
Okay.
First of all, I want to categorically state that the IG lacked... Hello?
Sorry, I seem to have lost you there. You said the IG lacks what?
IG lacks competence to deal with such issues because, first of all, the appointment of the IG had a problem.
Okay.
This IG was taken to Parliament for vetting on an individual basis. If you are taking people for vetting, you take 2, 3, 4. But IG was taken alone. And remember, the Commission of Higher Education did not recognize the first degree.
Okay.
And wrote a letter to the Parliamentary Select Committee, that we are not recognizing this first degree. So this person is actually incompetent and a beneficiary of the corrupt system.
So,
you understand?
Okay.
So his allegiance is to the appointing authority. There is no way he's going to execute these issues objectively, and yet his allegiance is to the appointing authority.
But if I was to use your argument, Franklin, we do have members also of the Court Coalition who have been summoned on hate speech, and we have records and even videos that have been played before. So if his incompetence is to the Jubilee side of government, what about the Court Coalition?
This is purely politics that is happening now. After the Moses Kuria made inflammatory remarks, now they are trying to divide it into both coalitions so that they can see how to manage it the way ICC was being done. You take few from ODM, you take few from PNU, and so on and so forth, so that both sides do not feel injured. This is purely political.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Franklin in Nairobi, who feels and believes that it is purely political. And of course, one thing that I know that many Kenyans would probably attest and say they're wary about is the rhetoric that comes after something and threats of action that will be taken. However, those threats normally don't materialize too much. So in this case, of course, we are asking, will the Inspector General, Joseph Boynet, do much about the accusations and hate speech that has been going on? Now, yesterday, my colleague James Matt had an interview where he was mainly focusing on hate speech. And sometimes, even as Kenyans, we need to find out and ask ourselves, what really is hate speech? Let's just have bits of that interview. All right, we'll continue. And Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero yesterday appeared before the Tunoi Tribunal and dismissed claims that he bribed Supreme Court Judge Justice Philip Tunoi. Kidero told the tribunal that he does not personally know the judge as well as his accuser Geoffrey Kiplagat, who claims he gave him 200 million shillings bribe to the judge. And as Akisa Wandera reports, Monday's session could help shape the case that threatens a lifelong career of Justice Tunoi.
Nairobi County Governor Evans Kidero appeared before the Sharad Rao-led tribunal to testify over claims that he offered Justice Tunoi a 200 million shilling bribe in order to influence a case challenging his election as Nairobi governor. In his testimony, Kidero was categorical that he has never met the judge.
Never met Judge Tunoi.
I've never met Judge Tunoi in person. I've never even shaken his hand.
You've never met him, you've never shaken his hand. Of course, you know he was one of the 7 judges who heard your appeal.
I've only seen him on television, and probably the closest I've come to him is today, because when they listened at the Supreme Court, we sat much back further.
Okay. But you know your matter was heard by 7 judges of the Supreme Court.
Yes.
The Nairobi governor was also firm that he never gave out the bribe as alleged by Geoffrey Kiplagat.
Do you know whether Mr. Kiplagat was ever used that entrance?
I don't know, because I don't know whether he ever came to City Hall.
Very well. Did you ever authorize him to use that entrance?
I don't know him, so I would have authorized.
Later, Kiprop Chirchir, the man said to be the driver of the car Governor Kidero was in when the bribe allegedly exchanged hands, also appeared before the tribunal and denied the allegations. He produced a selfie taken on the said date to prove that he was not at the scene when the alleged bribe was given.
Also could confirm that at around 8:34, having taken dinner and waiting for news, as we all in this country do, I had taken what we call a selfie, which, if you know, on the iPhone, it records the time that you took and the date. And I have it here for you to check.
Earlier, an expert from telecommunications company Safaricom was brought to interpret data on phone calls and short text messages between the players mentioned in the affidavit. A CID officer who analyzed the phone data of 2 players mentioned in the case told the tribunal that those mentioned were not in the same venue as stated in the sworn affidavit by Kiplagat.
On 4th November 2014, both of Mr. Kiplagat's mobile number were active different areas at the same time.
Yeah, but are you able to tell us which areas?
The second.
Where were they?
The second page.
We know that they're in different areas. But what areas?
The first number for Mr. Kiplagat was within Nairobi West area at 9:06:54 a.m.
Following the developments, Tunoi's lawyer Fred Ngatia made an appeal for the termination of the probe, saying the integrity and career of his client was hanging in the balance. The ruling on the application will be made tomorrow after 2 more witnesses take the stand. Kisa Wandera, KTN News.
And going back to that question of the day this morning, where we've asked you whether you think or feel that the IG would do anything regarding hate speech, whether he has the power, the goodwill, the possibility, the ability to do that. And I can see Tom, who says the IG is beholden to Jubilee. He can't be independent as the law requires. Do you think the IG will finally bring to book the alleged hate speech mongers? That's a question this morning. Now, yesterday, James Smart, my colleague on Monday Night News, had Commissioner of NCIC, Naitule, and they had a conversation regarding hate speech. And sometimes we are caught between wondering what exactly is hate speech and what's its definition. But also, to further that conversation, remember your calls. I'm going to be taking your calls after this. But let's just weigh in and hear what they had to discuss regarding hate speech.
Joined by Professor Joseph Naituli, who's a commissioner at NCIC. Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you.
Haven't you guys failed? We have hate mongers. They are continuing to propagate hate, and it's in existence. Why?
We have not failed. We have been doing our job actually fairly well. In fact, better than the people imagine. For the first time, we have been able, for the last 2 years, maintain serious peace in conflict areas, Turkana, Pokot, in Tana River. What is creating problem for us is the politicians, when they spew hate speech, when they separate us, we investigate, we arrest them, we hand them over to the Directorate of Public Prosecution, then they go to court, then unfortunately they get bail, and then they go back again to hate speech, then they go...
Let me ask a question. Yeah. We have the incident that was sparked this Sunday. Remember, starting from, I think, when the commission came into force, the new commission that you're in, you came into force and said you're going to have recorders in every political rally or every political event.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
On Sunday, were your commission and were you represented in Kasarani, where these alleged hate remarks that are sparked of this new round of hate started?
I actually doubt that we are presented there, but we have received all the videos. and that the investigation has commenced on this second round of that incitement. But I think the point really which is we need to make it so strongly also is there is indirect incitement to violence, and there is hate speech that touches on communities, which is ours, although we are reviewing the act in order to incorporate all that to ourselves. So, but you see, even if the commission was not represented there, I assume there is police in that meeting. And to me, nations fail when independent institutions which are charged with the mandate of executing a very specific mandate, when they fail to do that, that is when nations collapse. And what I see here is when people say, spew hate speech in so obvious in public gatherings, those people should be arrested by the police before they leave that meeting. Because that way, we are able to have a sober country, that way you can all live in peace.
Professor, there's one gentleman, the MP for Gatundu South, very notorious on hate speech, not only on Facebook, but in public comments. What is the commission doing?
We have taken the MP for Gatundu South to court several times. We have asked the court to cancel the bail, I think not once. We are going to do it again, because the bail is given on the condition that you maintain good behavior.
But he hasn't.
He has not maintained good. It's obvious that he hasn't maintained good behavior, because to say what he said yesterday is terrible in my opinion, because the country has enemies. We are fighting in Somalia, Al-Shabaab. What if Al-Shabaab takes the opportunity? What happens now to our country? You see, leaders need to be responsible. They need to know what they are saying can have consequences. And our leaders, unfortunately, don't seem to understand that. And, you know, our laws are very clear on this. And what we need is the court to ruthlessly enforce these laws, especially laws concerning our security, the security of the state. We apparently don't see that happening, and we are also disappointed.
So that's a frustration for you. The said MP has said that he will not appear before your commission. He's chosen to appear before the CID.
Yes.
The Bahati MP has said he's also not going to appear until it is written down, you know, because he's an elected member of parliament.
Yes.
No one takes you serious.
Well, the reason why I believe that they don't seem to take us serious is because they seem to have a way, once they arrive in court, to get this bail, and then to go out, do exactly the same thing, and then again get bail. We are asking the court to please save the country.
What about political will, Professor? What about the political will?
And that is Professor Naituli, who is a commissioner of the NCIC. And remember, previously the NCIC has actually been called a toothless dog, meaning, or rather because they have a responsibility and a duty to ensure that hate speech mongering does not continue. However, after they have summoned and taken these cases to the inspector, not to the inspector general, or rather taken them to court, then there seems to be a court process that is not working well for them, because like the case of Moses Kuria, remember, he has been summoned severally, he has been arrested but released on bail. Now, like the NCIC commissioner says there, one of the conditions for bail is that you maintain good behavior, which he admits and says, obviously, Moses Kuria has not done that. So, of course, the questions coming in, what needs to be done? Let me take a call from Sami in Vihiga and hear what Sami has to say. Good morning, Sami.
How are you?
Very well, thank you, Sami. What do you think as a country we need to do? Where should we put our pressure and concentration on?
Basically, I'd like to say that we have what we call our hands are tightened in terms of prosecuting the offenders who are really bringing up the hate speech cases, hate speech statement in our country. Because I'll base it on because it seems political, whereby judgment is not even passed within time. We've got a lot of cases that we've been having hate speech cases on our court, and there's no any effort made by either the chairman of the prosecution department or even Mr. Kiriako Tobiko. So on my side, what I'd like to say, because it really starts with us Kenyans, because we've been seeing what has been trending on Twitter, hate speeches, and I think there's not that power in terms of prosecution. Currently, we don't have that power within our law courts, whereby people are having like free time to say anything they want. And what I'm seeing, like what I saw yesterday against Mr. Kuria, was unpleasant. So the best thing is to have another independent commission, because me, I'm really not having any hopes with the kind of commission currently that we are having, because each passing day, politicians are having that free time to talk whatever they want. And mostly we are heading to the 27 elections. We are really having difficult times in terms of trying to, have reconciliation. What we have in 2007 and in 1998, we don't want that to repeat. So I think the president should act, not just acting, but to act wisely in terms of appointing some other commissioners who, I mean, like, based on, let us not even have commissioners within Kenya. Let us have commissioners outside Kenya, those who are really equipped in terms of giving the such protection. And yet again, we should have that power. We need to give the commissions power to be able to prosecute those guys who are really found in any hate speech cases.
All right. Thank you very much, Sami calling from Vihiga. And, well, not a very good vote of confidence on the IG's action or what he can do. Let me just sample some of the tweets that are coming through before we wind up. And remember, the question this morning that we have been asking is whether you think that the IG is going to do anything, if he's going to be able to bring to book those that are hate speech mongers, alleged hate speech mongers. Let me start with Al Nasir, who says he is simply jubilated. So basically, he wouldn't be willing to put the culprits to book. That's Al Nasir. Thank you for your tweet. We have Bishop Elias, who says that nothing will happen if affiliated to Jubilee or CORD, you are above the law. Kuria Alado, what's the difference? Okay, there you go. We have Majestic Ruler, Tembu, who says that IG is beholden to the government of the day. The guys want to serve the Jubilee government after 2017. See, smell, hear nothing. Although the question, of course, then would be, if this is all about Jubilee, then we still don't have some of those affiliated to the CORD coalition arrested who have been accused of hate speech. We do know that there are those who have been arrested before but also released on bail, and nothing has been done. Okay, Mike Atonya says that the IG and hate speech mongers are serving the same master. He will do what he can to blindfold citizens. So do you feel that this is just a rhetoric, that indeed the IG has no power or will not do anything? And looking at the Twitter poll, looking at the percentages that have come through, so far we have 15% saying yes, the IG will actually do something about it, and a whooping 85% saying no, he is actually not going to do anything about it. So Inspector General Joseph Boynet, in case you're watching us, do let us know what your rebuttal to this would be, because indeed you have summoned the members of parliament, but just like the NCIC, might it be a situation of a dog that barks but cannot bite? We'll wind up our session this morning right there. But do stay with us. We've got some news updates coming up right here on Morning Express. And later on, remember today being Tuesday, we have Your Money. And today would like to concentrate on look at moving up your career ladder. Maybe you have been stuck doing the same thing for so long and wondering how you can move up the career ladder. Today on Your Money, would like to concentrate and give you tips on how you can move from where you are, whether within the same business or even transfer from one business to another, but ensure that you're moving up your career ladder. That'll be coming up at around 8:25 right here on Morning Express on Your Money. But for now, we'll take a break, but we'll be right back.